What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about the rules and gameplay of cricket. It's been this far into my life, and I still do not understand cricket. I consider myself to be a pretty, big fan of sports. Maybe I don't get into the nitty gritty of, this player and that team and, rankings, but love athleticism. I love athletics and sport and playing. So I feel like I'm pretty aware of a lot of it, but like a lot of other Americans, I feel like I don't know anything about cricket. And cricket is, after all, I think it's the second most popular sport in the UK behind football and the national sport of the UK, which is just insane that it's that popular and that huge and important. And Americans, I'm going to say, not just me, I feel confident on this one. Americans in general, I'll make this statement. I'll make this decree. Americans don't know cricket. We don't see cricket. It's not on TV. So we don't know the rules. We don't know what's going on. I have seen it, and maybe you've heard this, reminds an American of baseball, American baseball, where there's a guy on a mound. He is pitching balls. For some reason, in cricket, the ball is not flying through the air. It's hitting the ground, and there are sticks and a big, giant bat. And it's honestly looks quite interesting to me. Like a variation. If you took baseball and made it crazy and wacky, which is good. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. And from a person in the UK's point of view, baseball is just taking cricket and making cricket strange and wacky and with a smaller stick or something. Anyway, without any further ado, let's check it out. Rules and gameplay of cricket.
It's no secret that I've gotten super into cricket this winter, and I don't think it's going to fade. I don't think it's a phase, so if you're not enjoying the cricket stuff, don't watch. If you are, there's more coming. I'm still learning the game, but I understand the concept. I lived in Australia and played in the playground a little bit, so I always kind of have. Here's a
Is this what countries is cricket popular in? Obviously not the United States, but the UK, Australia, possibly, as he's saying.
general breakdown. Now, I'm going to use baseball terms, so all the cricket people, I'm using the wrong terms on purpose. I think it's more relatable for baseball fans to understand. And
Wow, okay. So this is like perfect for me. This might annoy some of the cricket fans. Like he's saying, it might annoy some people from the UK, but he is perfectly catering to me. He's going to use baseball terms to explain cricket. I might actually be able to understand this.
just the general, if you've never seen it before, the general, very basic concept is if you've played running bases or pickle as a kid, that's what you have. These two lines are the safe zones. They're the bases, so to speak.
Running pickle or bases? Oh boy, just when I thought I had a grasp on what was going on. No, I've never played those things as a kid. And the pitcher is freaking... I'm sorry, but I just noticed this. The pitcher is sprinting at the base before he throws it. That's one of the cool things about cricket is even though it's a game involving a ball and hitting a ball, sport and teams, there's a lot of differences between this and baseball.
And the wickets are kind of the strike zone or the base. So to speak.
Okay, he's trying to relate it to baseball. I actually am not sure that this is helping, actually.
Bases or pickle as a kid. Very basic concept is if you've played running bases or pickle as a kid, that's what you have. These two lines are the safe zones. They're the bases, so to speak. And the wickets are kind of the strike zone or the base. So the guy's going to pitch it.
Why is he... See, he's making some mistakes here already by not defining... He's using a term like wicket, like I have any idea what a wicket is. So, wicket. Google will tell me, luckily. Google, wicket, cricket. Sticks. It's the 3 sticks. Okay, got it. Okay. I've heard the term wicket before, at least.
And the wickets are kind of the strike zone or the base.
So you're trying to throw the ball at the wickets? Okay.
So the guy's going to pitch it. He hits it, and then it's how many times can each runner run back and forth. Every time they run to the other side, that's a run.
Oh, I thought he was exaggerating, calling those zones or the bases. Because in baseball, you run around the diamond-shaped field, kind of in a circle, from base to base. And I was thinking, there's no way that's the same here, that you're going to run back and forth between just two bases. But yeah, sure enough, you hit the ball and you run back and forth between the two bases. That's a lot of starting and stopping, because they're kind of relatively close together and it's a straight line back and forth. Interesting. It's interesting.
Run back and forth. Every time they run to the other side, that's a run. That's the general concept. The fielding team has to get the ball and throw it in.
Oh, wait. Look at this field is like a circle. As a matter of fact, it looks like there are players all around in a 360-degree circle. Can you hit the ball backwards? To necessitate a 360-degree field?
Before the runners cross the line. If they get to the wicket before the runner crosses the line, then it's an out. It's a 1-inning game, this version.
Hold on. I need to hear that again.
Runner crosses. The runners cross the line. If they cross and throw it in before the runners cross the line.
So, are you trying to throw the ball back in before the runners cross the line one time, or at any point in this series of running between the bases back and forth, you're just trying to throw it to the base before they get to that base? Little confused.
That's a run. That's the general concept. The fielding team has to get the ball and throw it in before the runners cross the line. If they get to the wicket before the runner crosses the line, then it's an out. It's a 1-inning game, this version at least. Really long innings.
How do you get them out with the ball? Do you have to like tag the wicket with the ball, like touch it? Or physically get your body to the wicket?
And only 1 inning apiece. So on this ball, that one's put in play and it's caught on the fly, so that's an out.
Oh, they don't even have gloves in baseball. You have gigantic gloves. So everyone's just catching this stuff with their bare hands. Wow, that's impressive. So that's that's the easiest thing for me to understand so far, is if they hit the ball and someone catches it on the fly without it touching the ground, they are just out. Okay, that's the same.
They call it a wicket. So you see this scoreboard. This is how many runs the team has scored, 134. And this is how many outs they've hit into.
134 runs? That is such a high number. Are scores in cricket this high? Because you can run between the bases very quickly and accumulate points? Like, that would be outrageous for baseball. It's much more slow to accumulate points. Okay. But kind of makes sense from what he said you had to do.
And now it's going to change to 6. Once it gets to 10, it's over. Now this is the most confusing part. Cricket is broken up into overs. An over is a set of 6 pitches. It's like the biggest detail you need to know. Once you get that in your head, you'll understand all the stats, all the talk, all the chatter. An over is a set of 6 pitches. So this bowler's name is Verma. His first pitch, we
see, again, using terms like bowler without saying what a bowler is a little, makes it very difficult for me to keep up with this. So the bowler is either the guy pitching the ball, I imagine, or the guy hitting the ball. Probably not a fielder. That's what you know what? I can look this up. I can look it up. I gotta be sure. Cricket. Bowler. Oop. Bowler. It's the pitcher. It's the guy throwing the ball. Okay, jeez, they are athletic. They get into these throws. Goodness gracious. That's pretty cool.
We saw they got 1 run. His second pitch, he got an out or a wicket. That's huge. So let's keep going. He's got 4 more in the over. That dude who got out, He's done. His day is over. He does not get to hit again. A new batsman comes in. His name.
Wow, really? You get up to bat once, and then when you're out, you're out. For what if your team runs out of hitters because they're all out? Well, the game would probably be over at that point.
Name is Max Chu. He had a really good outing in the field. Let's see what he can do. Him and Broom, they call this a partnership. And Broom's been in for a while. So here's the first ball to Max Chu, and he puts that, and no runs. That's considered a dot ball. And because in this version of cricket, there's a pitch limit, there's 20 overs, which is a set of 6 pitches, meaning there's 120 pitches. Every pitch that the batsmen don't score a runoff is a win for the fielding team. So dot balls are huge.
Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to go to YouTube, and actually I'm going to go right here and do Cricket Explained, because this video is not doing it for me. And how about... There were some shorter videos. 15 minutes long, how to play cricket, WikiHow. How about this one?
Ned explains the rules of cricket. The object of the game is for your team to score more runs than the opposing team. Teams are made up of 11 players, with 1 substitute in case of injury. At the beginning of the game, a coin toss is used to determine who bats first. The fielding team will put all 11 players on the field, whilst the batting team will send out 2 batsmen.
Okay, this is already much better. From the other video was kind of saying, oh, I'm going to relate it to baseball, but then it was kind of not helping in the way that I hoped it would help. And then the narrator was starting to use cricket terms that I'd never heard before and talk about stats, which is a little too much detail than I want right now. So I want just a rules of the game, nothing more complicated than that. So I'm gonna go for this little 4-minute video explaining it, and it's already starting off a little better, I think. Just saying, okay, these are the 2 teams, this is where they go. That's kind of what I was looking for.
Batsmen always work in pairs, and a batsman cannot bat alone. The batsman's job is to score runs and defend their wickets. These wickets are 3 wooden stumps with 2 wooden bails resting on top of them.
Okay, this is like the iconic cricket. Oh, for Americans who have heard of cricket or seen highlights, the wickets, the sticks, as we like to call them, the 3 sticks. This is like the most iconic, one of the most iconic parts of cricket to us, because it's so visually, like, interesting, and I believe the sticks, I mean, they get broken at times, right? That seems, with the ball? From what I'm remembering, from what little I've seen, and I hope he explains a little bit more about that, basically.
Wickets. These wickets are 3 wooden stumps with 2 wooden bails resting on top of them. They try and hit the ball away from the wickets and run to their partner's crease. If a batsman hits the ball and both men safely run to the opposite crease, this scores 1 run.
Oh, see, this is good, because now I understand what the first video was trying to explain about there being 2 people in a pair. There are 2 batters up at the same time, and they are running back and forth to alternating bases, or whatever they're called. Anyway, this is making a little more sense to me.
If a batsman hits the ball and both men safely run to the opposite crease, this scores 1 run. If the bowler bowls the ball high, wide, or throws a no ball, which is an illegal bowl, this automatically scores 1 run. If the batsman hits the ball along the floor and it reaches the boundary, this scores 4 runs automatically without the batsman having to run.
Oh, that's like a home run or something in baseball. If you smack the crap out of the ball and it hits the boundary of the field of play, that's 4 runs. Okay. So he is trying to protect the wickets, right? Is he allowed to shield it with his body? Because he was almost getting his whole body in the way.
An illegal bowl, this automatically scores 1 run. If the batsman hits the...
Here, he's like entirely covering the wickets here. There's no way that ball is going to hit it. So I'm interested what happens when the sticks get broken.
Ball along the floor and it reaches the boundary. This scores 4 runs automatically without the batsman having to run. And if the batsman hits the ball in the air and it goes over the boundary, this scores 6 automatic runs.
Ooh.
This is the highest scoring play in cricket.
Wow. Yeah, and obviously I haven't mentioned this, but a major difference between cricket and baseball is the bowler, the pitcher, the bowler, I think, throws the ball and it hits the ground and it bounces and it does all sorts of crazy stuff. Whereas in baseball, it's just, thrown straight to the person with the bat and they hit it out of the air. So, man, it's hard for me to think about which would be harder to do. Baseball is notoriously pitched very fast, 90, 100 mile an hour through the air at you, which makes it tough. But cricket, the ball would lose some speed hitting the ground, but it's probably going insanely fast and bouncing around. So you gotta calculate the trajectory of how high it'll bounce, and then your bat is kind of curved or something, or you're trying to deflect the ball in a very specific direction. So there is a lot more complicated attributes to cricket, it feels like, with batting.
It's the job of the fielding team to get the batsman out of the game. The fielding team can designate specific players to bowl the ball towards the batsman. To bowl the ball, a ball must be bowled overarm and be within the channel of play. In cricket, there are 10 ways for a fielding team to get you out.
Oh, look, he broke sorry, but he broke the stick. Is that worth like 100 points? That seems really hard.
And be within the channel of play. In cricket, there are 10 ways for a fielding team to get you out. Number 1, bowled out. If the bowler bowls the ball and it hits the batsman's wickets and knocks over the bails, he's been bowled out.
Huh.
Number 2, caught out. If the batsman hits the ball in the air and it's caught by a fielder, he's been caught out.
Yeah.
Number 3, run out. If the batsman runs for his partner's crease and the ball is thrown into the wickets before the batsman gets there, he's been run out.
Oh, this is what the other video was trying to tell me. This is one of the 3 ways to get someone out, is for the team who's manning the field to throw the ball into the wickets after it's been hit. Is that right?
He's been caught out. Number 3, run out. If the batsman runs for his partner's crease and the ball is thrown into the wickets before the batsman gets there, he's been run out.
Okay.
Number 4, LBW. If the ball hits the batsman's leg and the umpire thinks that the ball would have hit the wickets if his leg wasn't in the way, he is ruled out by LBW, leg before wicket.
Oh, okay. They have a rule for this. I'm so happy that they touched on this, because I was really a little bit confused there. Like, wait, you're trying to hit the wickets and make them explode, but a lot of these guys at bat are covering it up with their bodies, so you can't do that. Makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Number 5, stumped out. If the batsman swings and misses the ball, the wicketkeeper can catch the ball and push the ball into the wickets. If this happens before the batsman can return to the crease, he's been stumped out.
Oh, wow, there's a lot of ways to there are a lot of ways to get people out in this game. Very interesting. It's not like the most complicated game, like it's not impossible to understand, but there is a lot going on from the point of view of someone who literally doesn't know the first thing about cricket.
Number 6, hit wickets or accidental outs. On the rarest of occasions, a batsman can get himself out or his own partner out by accidentally hitting the wickets themselves.
Wow, I bet there's some good moments with them, with batters accidentally getting themselves out by hitting it right at the wickets on the opposite side. That's funny. That's interesting.
The other 4 ways to get out in cricket almost never happen in today's game. These include hitting the ball twice in one stroke, handling the ball, obstructing a fielding player, or taking too long to take to the field. Once a batsman is out, he's replaced by the next batsman in the batting team's lineup. Once 10 players are out, the players switch sides so that the batsmen are now the fielders and vice versa.
Okay. Maybe the other video touched on this and I just was kind of over it at that point. But changing sides occurs after 10 batsmen are out. That sounds like it would take a while. Does an inning or a change of sides take a long time? 10 players have to get out? Maybe that's quicker than I think. This is where you have to have seen a single game of cricket in your life, and then you would instantly understand. Okay.
The highest run total after both sides have had their turn to bat wins.
Hold on, what did he say? His accent got to me there. I didn't quite catch what he said.
Once 10 players are out, the players switch sides so that the batsmen are now the fielders and vice versa. The highest run total after both sides have had their turn to bat wins.
Oh, so each side only gets once to bat? Whereas baseball has lots of innings and changes of sides. Cricket has one change of sides, and whoever has the highest run total wins. Okay.
That's basically the game in a nutshell, but there are a few...
Wouldn't that mean that the team who gets to bat second sort of has an advantage in a way? I'm sure this is hotly debated, but from someone who doesn't know anything about this, if you know how many runs your opponent has, does that give you an advantage coming out knowing the exact number you have to beat to win the game? I don't know. Maybe that doesn't really end up mattering much, but maybe it does. I don't know. That same problem exists for any team sports, really, so.
A few other things you'll need to understand. A bowler must deliver 6 legal balls to a batsman. Once 6 legal balls have been played, this is known as an over. Once an over is complete, a new bowler will then try and get the other batsman out by bowling the ball from the other side.
Oh, I was wondering how it works with the two batsmen. Do they alternate getting bowled at, or so after 6 legal bowls, they switch?
Once 6 legal balls have been played, this is known as an over. Once an over is complete, a new bowler will then try and get the other batsman out by bowling the ball from the other side.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much exactly what it is. All right.
Once both teams have finished batting, this is known as an innings. The amount of overs and innings vary depending on the format of cricket. In 2020 cricket,
That was a good catch.
the amount of overs and innings vary depending on the format of cricket. In 2020 cricket, each team is given 20 overs for 1 innings. This game generally lasts about 3 hours. In one-day cricket, each team is given 40 or 50 overs for 1 innings. As the name implies, the game generally lasts about a day.
What? What? Hey, look, Australians do play this. I see it on his shirt. A day? A day of cricket? Like 8 hours of cricket or 24 hours of cricket? 3 hours seems about good. That's about good. But a day?
In Test cricket, there are no limits for overs, and the game theoretically ends when all batsmen are out.
What? 5 days of cricket. You know what? If you love... Americans would watch 5-day long football matches. Not soccer, but American football matches. Or basketball. We'd watch it for 5 days straight, so... I'm sure it exists. I'm sure people like it.
And is usually played for 2 innings. This game can last anywhere up to 5 days and is the oldest and longest form of cricket.
Wow.
If you're new to cricket, I highly recommend watching the highlights of any Indian Premier League game to start out with. If you're watching cricket on TV, they'll conveniently tell you how many runs have been scored, how many batsmen are out, and they'll even tell you what the other team scored and how many runs are required to win the game. Cricket may seem like a slow game, but as you watch or play it, the rules will become clear. If you have found this video at all helpful, please comment, like, share and subscribe. It takes me ages to make one of these things, and good...
Okay, I think that's pretty much it. That was by Ninhe Lai. I'm probably saying your name wrong here. Nin Lai? Anyway, I really liked that video. It was very good. No offense to the first video, but it seemed to be made by someone who was almost too familiar with cricket, so invested in cricket that he was having trouble articulating it in a way that a complete and utter noob like myself could understand. But this video was a little more simple, a little more general, in a way that I could understand. Pretty much. There's a few things there that were still lost on me. But honestly, the game seems really interesting. The design of the field is like nothing I've ever seen before. It seems to go all the way around. The games can last forever. And just the the concept of two bowlers and two wickets, two batters. I never knew that or understood that's what was going on. That's very interesting, as well as, even more fundamentally, how the bowler pitches the ball and it hits the ground and it's aggressive and trying to smash the wickets apart. And it's very interesting. I can easily see why this is a really popular sport in the UK. I guess the only thing that's left, at some point, I'm going to have to watch some cricket highlights or a game or something. Because now I really do have a much better understanding of what's going on, and more importantly, how points are scored, How people get out. If you don't have that, then no wonder I had no idea what was going on. It just looks like madness. But yeah, I did enjoy this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to leave a comment or give it a like. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to stuff in the UK or Great Britain that I've never experienced or learned about before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.